I want to speak to you about the Gerosh Shedim, the casting out or expelling of demons. And I want to give some personal examples, some history that I've had with that subject, but I also want to talk about the Bible. And when you look at the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, you see that usually there's some kind of confrontation. And the irony is always that they know who this is. The Zoon von der Oberster, incognito, as a Galilean carpenter rabbi. And the people don't know who he is, but the demons do, the Shedim. They know who he is. And this is ironic. But when this confrontation comes, the demons start talking. And usually they try to take authority or power by naming him or saying they know who he is. They know what his name is. And then there's a back and forth confrontation. There's the words of the exorcism itself uttered by Moshiach. The demon pleading and trying to negotiate or plea bargain. And then finally, the cure. And it's usually violent, falling down, foaming at the mouth, and all of this. And when you get to the Gerasene demoniac, we find out that there's another irony going on. The people are very materialistic. They're very much more concerned about the fact that the 2,000 Shedim that were in this naked demoniac in the unclean graveyard, that those 2,000 pigs, which were worth a lot of money, went over the cliff and were destroyed. Man, you talk about hurting your wallet. Than they were who this man is, becoming his disciple, learning from him how to do the same thing, which is to cast out the Shedim, and all of that. So here we see how fellowships and congregations and denominations and even individual ministers can steer off the narrow road out of materialism and out of some kind of detour away from the true Yeshua of the Bible. Friend, let me tell you something. There isn't enough money in the world to make me remove the word ha'alma equals unmarried virgin from the translation that I have. There's not enough money in the world to make me get rid of the real meaning of Kof Nun He. You can't buy me out, friend. I slept on the floor of my office for 10 years. I fought demons. I had a demon above me. This was before the term rough sex was used. This guy, apparently he was doing self-pleasuring on a very rough level, jumping up and down on his bed, etc. And he had this pornographic demonic painting on his wall. And one day, the ceiling of my apartment collapsed. And there was another person who was demon possessed that was out on the steps of this fourth story walk up on 47th Street in Hell's Kitchen. And this was a prostitute who was selling her body not for cash but for narcotics, mainly from a dentist who was one of her Johns who was giving her morphine. And so one day, when David Wilkerson read one of my newsletters and called me up, and he was getting ready to start the Times Square congregation, he wanted me to meet him in a restaurant, in a hotel. And I did. And I said, look, I got these people I want you to come over and deal with. I got this couple, Puerto Rican, Spanish speaking. She's an alcoholic. I found her out in front of the building, out of her mind on booze. They have a little small baby. Can you come over and deal with them? So get the picture. We're in this little apartment. I think it's 346 West 47th Street, something like that. We're in their apartment. And here's the seating arrangement. I'm over here, seated by myself. And my focus is completely on these two Puerto Rican people, the man and his wife. But over here is this prostitute sitting next to David Wilkerson. Oh, let me tell you something, friend. Have you ever seen a snake charmer? Have you ever seen a king cobra come up out of that basket? Have you seen the interplay between his flute and the snake going back and forth? There's almost like an invisible barrier holding the snake back from biting the snake charmer. Well, that's what was going on to my right, and I wasn't even aware of it, except it was starting to come into my peripheral vision, that under his breath, he was speaking to the demon, and she had long prostitute fingernails, and she was going for his eyeballs, and there was some kind of invisible barrier between her fingernails and his eyeballs, and they were going back and forth like this as he finally cast the demon out, and she slumped into a kind of she was just kind of slumped there on the couch. And then he turned and, as if nothing had happened, and started dealing with the two Puerto Ricans. He wasn't concerned about materialism. He didn't care about the 2,000 pigs. God gave him more money than you can imagine, but he didn't think money. He wasn't into money. The demon didn't say, Rav Shaul I know, and Yeshua I know, but who are you? Because, do you have an advanced degree? Are you playing ball with your boss in the denomination? Are you keeping your big salary? Are you being politically correct and preaching a gospel of accommodation to keep those offerings coming in at any cost? Did she say anything like that? No, she did not. The demon didn't say that. Now, I'm not putting down advanced degrees or education, but I'm saying they cannot be a substitute for spiritual power. Oh, hallelujah. I want spiritual power, friend. Amen.